It was late evening in a quiet suburban supermarket, the kind of place where the fluorescent lights hummed faintly, and the aisles smelled faintly of detergent and fresh bread. Families were finishing up their shopping. Kids begged their parents for candy. Carts clattered against the tile floors, and employees began restocking shelves for the night. But in the baby aisle, there was one mother who stood still, her hand frozen on a can of powdered baby formula. Her name was Emily Carter. Her brown hair was pulled back in a loose bun, strands falling into her tired face. Her clothes were clean but worn, her shoes scuffed, her hands roughened from endless work. She stared at the price tag on the can of baby milk like it was a cruel joke, $29.95. It might as well have been $2,995. Emily clutched the can against her chest for a long moment. She imagined her baby boy, Noah, just 6 months old, crying in the crib back at their small apartment. He needed this milk. He needed it to grow, to be strong, to stop his tiny stomach from crying out with hunger. Her lips trembled. Then, slowly, almost painfully, Emily bent down and placed the can back on the shelf. Her hands lingered on it as though saying goodbye. She swallowed hard, forcing the lump in her throat down. She turned away quickly, grabbing only the cheapest loaf of bread and a small carton of eggs from the shelf nearby. She didn't want to cry. Not here. Not in public. But someone saw her. From 2 aisles away, Daniel Reeves, a man in his late 40s wearing a tailored navy suit and polished shoes, paused. He had been walking with a basket in hand, absent-mindedly selecting a bottle of sparkling water and some gourmet cheese for later. He wasn't supposed to be here. Normally his assistant handled grocery runs, but tonight he decided to stop by after a late meeting. Daniel was a millionaire, CEO of a tech firm, known in the city as a hard negotiator, a ruthless businessman, the kind of man who bought and sold companies like toys. People called him sharp, brilliant, but cold. Yet, when his eyes fell on Emily, something stirred inside him. He had noticed the way she picked up that baby formula, how her face crumpled when she saw the price, how she put it back as though it was breaking her soul to do it. Something about that moment wouldn't let him look away. Emily walked quickly to the register, trying to hide her face, her eyes red. The cashier smiled politely, rang up her bread and eggs, and handed her the receipt. Total $6.43. She slipped the bag over her arm, head low, and headed out the sliding glass doors into the cool night. Daniel hesitated. He wasn't the type to interfere in strangers' lives. Normally, he would brush something like this off. But this was different. He set his basket down and followed her. Outside, Emily pushed through the parking lot, clutching her bag tightly against her chest as though afraid the wind might take it away. She reached a beat-up old sedan with rust spots along the side. She opened the door, placed the bag inside, and sat there in the driver's seat, both hands on the steering wheel. For a long moment, she didn't start the car. She just sat there, staring at nothing, her lips trembling, her shoulders shaking ever so slightly. Daniel approached slowly, unsure what he was even doing. He stopped a few feet away and cleared his throat gently. "Excuse me, miss." Emily startled, quickly wiping her face and turning toward him, wary. "Yes." He offered a faint, disarming smile. I couldn't help but notice back inside. You were looking at the baby formula." Her face tightened, her guard snapping up instantly. "Why?" she asked, her voice defensive. Daniel raised his hand slightly. "I don't mean to intrude. It's just, I saw you put it back. Is it for your baby?" Emily's throat tightened. She shook her head quickly. I don't need help, thank you." She turned back toward the wheel, hoping he would just leave, but he didn't. Something inside Daniel told him this wasn't a moment to walk away. "Look," he said softly, "I know I'm a stranger, but sometimes people cross our paths for a reason." He hesitated, then added, "Let me buy it for you." "The formula." Emily's eyes widened. "No, I couldn't. I don't even know you."
"That's fine,"
Daniel said gently. "You don't have to. But please, let me do this. For your baby." For a long time, silence hung in the air. Emily's eyes welled up with tears again. Pride and desperation wrestled inside her chest. Finally, her voice broke. I can't accept charity." Daniel's gaze softened. It's not charity, it's kindness. Someday, maybe, you'll pass it on to someone else. Her lips trembled. She looked at him, really looked at him this time. His suit, his polished shoes, his calm presence. Everything about him screamed wealth and comfort. Why would a man like this stop for someone like her? She shook her head, whispering, "Why are you doing this?" Daniel's eyes grew distant for a moment. Because once, a long time ago, someone did it for me. And that was how it began. Daniel returned inside, bought the baby formula, and carried it back out to Emily. She accepted it with shaking hands, whispering, "Thank you," through her tears. But that small act of kindness was only the start of a story that would change both of their lives forever.